Uche, thank you for taking the time out to join us.
Thank you.
Let's start from the global perspective at this point. OPEC is frantic, obviously. There was a meeting last week, Wednesday, and OPEC Plus with OPEC and its allies, but there wasn't a general recommendation in terms of what direction. But what we're hearing is that OPEC would like to see further deeper cuts, deeper than what was agreed in December, which would expire in March. But Russia is not exactly on the table with that. So obviously, but then OPEC needs to come up with a plan and one fast. What are your thoughts?
It's OPEC, the oil bloc, trying to front run the risk. I'm sure going into this year, every market participant, stakeholder in the global market space didn't really plan for a risk such as this coronavirus, and that has been what has been priced into the market, and OPEC is trying to front run that. You would expect people like Russia to really raise an eyebrows to that regards, given the fact that going into deeper cost sort of affects their production capacity and the total revenue they were looking to get for the year. OPEC is one of those, Russia is one of those guys that are outspoken with their stance. People like Nigeria would not be able to meet any further cut, really.
But these are extraordinary times,
yes,
that obviously require extraordinary measures.
Yes, but at the same time, you also need to think about your own country's selfish interest in that regards, really. How much can I cut? Some people have the capacity to still hold on and generate significant revenue if they cut deeper, someone like Saudi Arabia. So other people are just smaller in that production capacity is what is really key, and they know they have the quota that they can really work on with. So I think OPEC has really are having that, should I say, that issue of what to work with. There might be some issues going forward. But however, if there is that relief news from China as regards to coronavirus, I think things will just change.
Obviously, good news out of China regarding the virus would be a very welcome development, but that hasn't come yet. Chinese authorities are waiting for the virus to peak. They're waiting for the numbers, the death toll to come down, but that is not happening. But in the meantime, like I said, OPEC needs to take a decision. How do you see this playing out? If in the next couple of days, we're hoping that the virus, the spread reduces, but if that isn't the case, what likely action do you see OPEC taking?
They're really going to come to that place of deeper costs, and not just deeper costs.
And do you think they'll be able to bring Russia to the table?
It's more like a compromise thing, probably saying, you know what, this is just going to be temporary until we get the virus peak and we can just return to status quo. And also they will ask for the extension period. So it's supposed to be March, but I think they will ask for probably towards the end of the year for that.
No, you mentioned, smaller players like Nigeria who are already part of the quota system and, of course, have had to take additional cuts, albeit marginal, but cuts nevertheless. And to now have to take further cuts, we're losing, it would appear that we're losing on both sides because oil is now down to $53. I suppose that option is obviously meant to boost prices, but what do you see the Nigerian response being? Do you think Nigeria is going to say, okay, we're all in this together, let's all take deeper cuts?
The truth of the matter is, deeper cuts is going to help stabilize price to the upside, provide that bolstering bullish momentum. However, I think it's going to be things that this market or member countries would agree on paper in principle, but don't follow through in terms of implementation. So Nigeria will be in a place, I believe, that, okay, you know what, we are going to cut. While others are cutting, prices stabilizing, they probably would be missing out on those quota.
Interesting. I know back home, I was just reading a story that Reuters put out recently about the fact that the Nigerian National Assembly senators are thinking about reworking the petroleum industry bill from scratch, and they may be having conversations with the president about this. It's just interesting because there's been these several calls on let's get this reforms together, let's get the acts together so that foreign investors will know that okay, there's a clear map and direction that this country is going with this particular industry, and then we'll also have a key buy-in. But if we're talking about building or writing these things from scratch, I really don't know what to think, but what do you think?
I think they're in a place of dilemma, really. They need more funds, and given how Nigeria's oil reserve is like a significant, should I say, revenue stream, they are looking for plausible ways to squeeze out those revenue. I had interviews or conversations with people in the IOCs, and they were telling me exactly how they have facing significant stringent conditions that is not helping them to even attract foreign investment into the space. And that in itself is a counterproductive, should I say, approach to these things. So I think them writing the petroleum base, they coming to understand that there is no, should I say, material headway in this regard, and they are looking for how to structure something.
But funny enough, they also did say that, yes, we'll rework it from scratch, but also hope to pass it before the end of 2020. Now, given history and the fact that it's taken us over a decade to even agree on some, especially key aspects of that bill, and then to say that there's a hope to pass it before the end of the year, it just seems, it's not impossible, obviously, but given our history on that document, it just seems unattainable.
Yeah, it's not feasible. Yes, that's the problem we've always been having with Nigeria and its condition in terms of governance. They don't follow through in terms of implementation. There are things that needs to be done, just basic stuff really. You have a country like Guyana. Guyana has created such lax, should I say, environment for FDIs to come in. Literally, I heard Mobil literally wrote a petroleum bill for Guyana, and they're flooding into that space. When you see the smaller countries like Angola, Mozambique, trying so hard to attract that foreign FDIs and FPIs into that space, it's because they are having that traction, that plan as to what would happen in the near future. We are just having that circling, should I say, routes to all these things, and that is where the counterproduction comes in. It's quite sad and unfortunate.
No, but I mean, back to the global stage. I suppose we've said it all. The fact that China, OPEC needs good news coming out of China concerning this virus, but also is OPEC also concerned about China's handling of the virus? Because obviously, to a large extent, how China handles the virus, ensuring that the spread of infections reduces, and all of that also goes a long way in creating that assurance, or at least reassuring everyone, including OPEC, that they're at least trying to stay ahead of it.
Yeah, so I think from China's perspective, they're doing their best. They've shut down institutions, working resumption time, even schools, to about late in February. Some is even pushing it to March. Foxconn, who is like a significant production center for the Apple products, has been shut down to sometime in March too. So China is trying so well to contain this virus, but we can see that this variable, the metrics for the infected persons, the number of deaths, are significantly increasing. So it is not what China is doing right now that's the issue. It's how much has the virus gone? What's the propagation efficacy of this virus? And that is really where the variable comes in. It's not just in China now. We have this virus outside of China.
Absolutely. Uchenna, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Pleasure having you
Thank you
on the show. Uchenna Minnis, Managing Partner at BluFX Nigeria.